Hello everyone, welcome to the energy update for July. I'm Lee, I'm an intuitive, and every month I take the pulse on what might show up for you in the current energies. Just 3 of the themes we're going to look at this month are the 3 current types of change energy and which one you might be finding yourself in. Financial revolution energy beginning to hit our world and what that means for us. And tenderness and vulnerability and fast manifestation. Stay tuned for the full update. Hello everyone, welcome to the update for July 2023 as time races along. I hope you're doing okay out there. As usual, it's intense and it's certainly been an intense month. I spoke in June about the boom energy that was showing up, sudden, surprising, or shocking experiences. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that for the month of July because the information I've been given is that June, July, and August are a sequence of months where intense change energy is showing up for many of us. And there are 3 different types of change energy that you might find yourself in. So the first theme is, which of the 3 current change energies are you finding yourself more dominantly in? June, July, and August sees this deep change-making energy moving through the world. We'll all be experiencing it differently, and some of us will probably be finding ourselves in different points of those 3 different change energies, but let's look at them in turn. So the first one is a bright intensity. Intensity is the underscore at the moment, whether you're someone who deeply feels, whether you're going through a lot of healing, whether you're just finding the intensity of our world a lot, as many are. But on a personal level, bright intensity is perhaps the most enjoyable or the easiest change energy to go through of the 3 that I'm going to list. We have bright intensity, release intensity, and cocoon intensity, but let's focus on bright. So bright intensity is an energy that brings awareness into your life. And even if it's shocking initially, it is actually very clarifying and bringing positive change. So bright intensity might look like you suddenly having the awareness of something you need to do or something that you need to change, but it comes in powerfully. It could be very surprising to you. It could have a certain level of shock, but it comes in so powerfully and so knowingly to you that you suddenly see clearly, the path ahead is different to the path I've been on or where I've been. So bright intensity, even if accompanied by some shock or surprise, usually it feels right. It feels like the right move to make at the right time. So there is a brightness that you feel around it because you can see how it's connecting you to a future destiny path. It's not just grief, it's not just pain, it's not just sadness. Those things tend to be disconnected experiences inside us. Even if we're experiencing grief and pain and sadness, we aren't necessarily feeling our future in those. We're much more in the present moment or burning off the past. So this bright intensity can actually be very enjoyable to the visionary among you. So if you're a visionary person, if you're someone who has a strong intuition or a strong psychic sense, you might be going through a period where it's like someone's turned all the lights on. And not only can you see clearly things that perhaps you previously weren't seeing clearly or didn't want to see or were struggling to see, it shows you the future when this bright intensity of change is in your life. And the other side of this bright intensity can be literal physical changes. So things that you've wanted to change in your life or things you maybe weren't even aware that would bring positive change. That can be characterized by this bright intensity of change. There's a lot of support around it, a lot of peace around it, a lot of love, and a lot of guidance. So bright intensity is kind of the top note in these 3 change areas that we're in. Release intensity is number 2. So release intensity brings with it healing and the dropping of anchors that would impede or obstruct your future. So this can be triggered by personal events or areas of health or relationship in your life, and it can hold a lot more grief and lower vibrations and feelings if you need to release. So the release intensity is still connected to your future. You're releasing parts of yourself, your identity, your emotional makeup, perhaps old traumas, that you want to let some of those layers go so that you can move forward clearly into the future. But when you're in release intensity, you aren't necessarily thinking that much about the future. You can very much be with your pain, be with your grief, be with a sense of loss. So that's more of a middle energy, and it can bring with it a lot of healing. For example, let's say it's a health crisis that is currently asking you to release old ideas about life, old ways of relating. Sometimes things like health crises can bring into sharp focus how we want to live, how we want to be, what's important. But there is a certain release that goes with it on an emotional level. It can also be releasing beliefs that you had in your mind, things that you thought were important that all of a sudden you're like, oh, this isn't important at all. And I'm experiencing that very viscerally. So release intensity is a very healing phase of change. It's very core, because when we go through dropping all of these things, we do get to move into the future. But release intensity, when it's got hold of us, we're mostly aware of what it is that we are having to let go of. We almost become it. It's why there are so many great sayings out there. One of the ones I use whenever I'm in a release moment or feeling lower in myself is, "This too shall pass." You know, whenever you're really in the grip of something difficult or dark or unpleasant, it will pass. Things will change. How you feel tomorrow will not necessarily be how you feel today. And that's very important, because when you're in the depth of those feelings can almost feel like, well, this is all I am now. This is who I am now. And particularly if you're quite empathic and quite sensitive, one of the areas of mastery for those of us who are wired that way is we have to remember this is a moment in time. And this moment in time is here for a reason, but we will be released from this moment in time at some point, and we will go on to a different future. So that's release intensity, area number 2 of these intense change areas that we're feeling. The third one is cocoon intensity. Now, a good experience of cocoon intensity is just a feeling of being paused. You're like, oh, not much going on in my life. I feel like everything's on a bit of a pause, but it's okay. Or perhaps it's welcome because you've just been through release intensity or bright intensity, all these clarifying awarenesses that cause you to make changes. So cocoon intensity is where you just cocoon into yourself and into your life, and things just feel paused, and that can feel quite pleasant, quite peaceful, a little bit like a necessary moment of stillness and rest amidst the waves of the ocean on Earth right now. But the negative side of cocoon intensity is when you almost feel like someone has put you in a cocoon against your will. So this can be a feeling of feeling stuck, feeling stopped. Nothing is moving in your life. You're trying to make traction and nothing is moving, nothing's changing. You'll often feel heavy in your life or in yourself. So if the cocoon feels like that, it doesn't feel like just a pause time or a moment to calibrate to everything that you've been through, because that's the gift of the cocoon. A quiet, still, peaceful time allows you to catch up with what you might have just been through. But if the cocoon is on the more shadow side, you feel stuck, you feel stopped, you're getting frustrated, you're getting more upset. You have to start changing some of your patterns and supporting yourself one day at a time. So look at yourself holistically. Are you looking after your physical body, your nutrients, your supplements, whatever it takes to let this body have its full energy and vitality back? You have to start making some changes on the physical level. And then on the emotional and mental level, have you just been in a downward spiral for a long time? Well, you're going to need some light to come in. You're going to need to open the windows somehow. So What could you start to do on a daily basis? Just small, simple steps, nothing too great, because if you're in a cocoon, you usually don't have an enormous amount of will or an enormous amount of willpower. So small things that you know can start to improve your life. Who can support you? If it's not a friend, is it a professional, or is it a group, or what is it that you can go out there to find? You don't have to stay in a cocoon unless you want to. So there's a big difference between happily being in a cocoon and feeling like you've been forced into one and you want to get out. The way to get out is to start to make small but significant changes to your daily patterns and habits so that you can let some light in through the windows again. The fourth theme of this month is take stock to create the new. Take stock to create the new. I think often we think of creating the new as running out there and doing things in the world, but the truth is, when you really take a moment to look at your life from all ways round, so taking a 360 view at things in your life, you can reflect on your life to redirect your life. So just taking some time over this month and next month to go, what new do I need or want or feel to create in my life? And whenever we reflect on our current life, the blessings, the things we're grateful for, and perhaps some areas that we think, oh, maybe now I'm ready to look at that a bit more, or maybe now I'm ready to tackle some of these things, or maybe now I've just got a bit more confidence than I had a year ago in that area I want to pursue. So taking stock to create the new. The reason that theme is here right now is if you do that, creating the new will become quite effortless. If you actually stop by reflecting on what's good in my life, what am I grateful for, and what areas of my life would I like to see some change and movement in, it will be quite effortless when you do that for you to move into those new areas and create them. So reflection for redirection is the theme there. This next theme is an interesting one because when I received it from my guides, it was very clear this is a cosmic influence. This is not so much to do with human behavior, although we are seeing this in society. Financial revolution energy. Financial revolution energy. So the message here is this month ushers in the beginning of a new strong moving energy on the planet that's going to be with us for quite a few years. A new energy around financial freedom and balance, not financial control and limitation, which is interesting because I know that globally we have some issues around that right now and upcoming. But it's an interesting thing that it's coming in at the same time. It's an opposing force to old ideas of financial control and limitation. It's entering this month at a strong level and it's going to be with us for the next few years. So this is going to lead to revolutionary ideas around balanced financial systems in localized and perhaps more global areas, which will of course be in direct opposition with certain other systems that we know are at work at the moment and are looking to do their work in the future. So it's going to be interesting. Because that financial revolution energy, even though it's coming in on a global level, it shows up personally too. You might be re-identifying your relationship with finance. You might be abundant in a way that you're able to share or redirect some of your finance in a way that helps others. Money is such an interesting and emotional topic for us on the planet that it's going to be interesting to see it go through a level of healing. And I'm not speaking about how you perceive the system of finance that we're all in at the moment. That's a whole other topic of conversation. I'm speaking about your personal relationship to money and how open, clear, clean it is. That's going to be in movement over the coming months and years. And for many of you, that will be hitting you right now. You might be going through a financial revolution in your own life in some way. So that's going to be interesting to watch that play out. But it kicks in this month, July, and it will be with us for a few years, and it will be an undercurrent, and it will be in direct opposition to anything to do with financial control and limitation. So we'll watch this space. The next theme is tenderness and vulnerability. Tenderness and vulnerability. So at their core, tenderness and vulnerability are superpowers. But in our society, these have been discouraged or are hard to maintain in our traditional systems. So of course, you find exceptions to this rule everywhere, all over the planet. There are groups, places, communities, and systems where tenderness and vulnerability are welcomed. But as a whole, tenderness and vulnerability are not necessarily areas that we have been taught to safeguard, own, express in a free way. And our systems, and even if you look at the systems of communication on the planet, for example, traditional media, we don't see a lot of tenderness or vulnerability exhibited, celebrated, or explored in those areas. Even though many of you watching this kind of video, it will already be something you're pretty aligned with. So tenderness and vulnerability are coming in a bigger way in the next month or two. This means you may be finding that you are drawn to or experiencing people, places, and things where tenderness and vulnerability are celebrated. You might be having some disalignments with people, places, and things where tenderness and vulnerability are not honored, or your tenderness and vulnerability are not honored, or there is a lack of flow between you and another where tenderness and vulnerability can't be the foundation or the baseline. So it's going to be an interesting one. You may also right now be feeling tender and vulnerable in your life in a way that you're not enjoying, which takes me back to a couple of those change energies I listed at the beginning. Have a look at what I said about release intensity and cocoon intensity, because tenderness and vulnerability, when they aren't there to process pain or to release pain, they're beautiful. They're very alive, very much of the heart. They're very much in touch with heart energy and feeling. So there is going to be a little bit of a revolution around tenderness and vulnerability that you might be playing with right now in your life or experiencing in your life. The next theme is going to be of no surprise to many of us, fast manifestation. If you are in alignment right now with your life and your path, things will be moving fast for you. Now, some of you might be going, oh, well, I didn't think I was in alignment with my life, but my God, I can't keep up with all the changes. It doesn't mean that we're always ready for that level of speed. And remember, you can slow things down for yourself. If you just feel like you've been put through the washing machine the last few months with the speed of change in your life and how quickly things are appearing or changing, you can literally say, universe, I just need things to slow down. Please calm things down for me for a month or so. I need to be in that happy cocoon. I need that pause. Remember, you can create that for yourself and slow things down for yourself. I know I've done this, and I've met many people over the years in our community who will say, oh God, I just can't keep, I feel like I'm being dragged. And we have to remember, okay, well then let's stop. Let's recognize we feel like we're overwhelmed. So let's look at what we've agreed to do in the next month or two and see what we can change or trim or adjust so that we're not just trying to get through the next 2 months in our state of overwhelm. We need to recognize, oh, I'm overwhelmed. That's a signal. I have to pay attention. I have to reorganize things so that I'm not just in a state of overwhelm. That's no good for you or anybody else who might be dependent on you, wanting your time and attention, needing you. So fast manifestation. So when I say if you are in alignment right now, things will be moving fast for you, we're often in alignment for the future and we don't always know it. Sometimes you might be going through things going, I didn't want any of this, but you'll be surprised. 6 to 12 months from now, you'll look back and go, oh, I see why that was happening for me. At the time, it was very fast, a bit more than I could keep up with, but I see how it was moving me to my next alignment. So some of you will be consciously manifesting and changing things fast because you can feel and sense where you're going. Others of you might be like, whoa. And those of you who are annoyed right now because you're like, I wish things would manifest, go back to cocoon intensity and what I said about change your patterns, change your habits. Whenever we get stuck often we are the ones who can break ourselves out of it, and we don't have to do it in a dramatic way. Even just starting to do something like a 15-minute walk around your neighborhood every day when you haven't really been outside for a week or two, that starts to change the energy. It doesn't have to be, I must commit to a 1-month hiking course. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It's actually the small, consistent changes that we make that really allow change energy to infuse us. And change energy is so strong right now. Some of you might be pulling away from it because you're just going, no, stay away from me. But if you really want to get in touch with some of that change energy, you just have to take a few steps out of your normal routine, do something slightly different. Okay, final theme of the month is deeper conversations, inner and outer. Deeper conversations, inner and outer. So whether it is experiencing deep conversations with people you know, seeking them out, or inner conversations with your higher self, soul, or inner wisdom, deeper conversations are going to be a part of the next couple of months for many of us. So you might find yourself freer with that tenderness and vulnerability with certain people, and you're able to have real heartfelt, deep conversations. You may be going within right now, staying away from people as much as you normally would, but really going within to who am I? What am I looking for? I want to hear my inner voice. I want to connect with my guides, whatever it looks like for you. Deeper conversations, inner and outer, are part of the makeup right now. So those are the themes. I am very much looking forward to seeing some of you live in Dublin, Ireland. It's going to be my first live event in 3 years out in the world, and my first time ever in Ireland. The event, I've been told, is about 95% sold out, which is lovely, but it does mean that if any of you watching this want to come, do please go to the website and book now, because it will sell out by the time we get to July 25th. I look forward to meeting you there. Interestingly, this month, my audio recording, my MP3, which goes to my members community, the portal, but is also available in the store, it's called Changing Relationships, Endings, Beginnings, and Transformations. This theme has been so in the world this last 6 months or so that I thought I want to give my guides, the Z's, a chance to really talk about it. And what came out was a 70-minute talk from them, but it's informational, but it's really a cosmic journey. They take us on a journey as to why we go through relationship changes, endings, beginnings, transformations. And all of that is scored by my musical brother, Davor Bozik, and he has infused it with the frequencies of change. So it's a really powerful recording. It's available at my website, leeharrisenergy.com. But if you are a member of my members community, the portal, that recording is just one of many things you get to support you, inspire you, and uplift you every single month from myself and a few friends and special guests I bring with me into the portal. So do check it out if you feel like you would like an online community and also a resource that every month I and some of my guests get to really help you stabilize in these times and uplift. That's our intention. So we'd love to see you in there if it resonates. And last but not least, Soul Magic, the online retreat that we just hosted this last couple of weeks, is now fully available. So if you would like to have an immersive online retreat experience with me, my guides, the music of Davor Bozik, it has been an incredible, incredible ride with so many of you from all over the world. And if you wanted to experience Soul Magic, you can now access the whole thing, and you have lifetime access to all of the replays, video content, audio content. So thank you to everyone who joined us for Soul Magic. But for now, that's all from me. I hope you have a wonderful July and see you next month. Lots of love. Connection, heart energy, and wisdom. 3 things that members in my portal community say they receive every single month from the messages, the teachings, and the themes that I offer inside the portal. And the centerpiece of every month is my live broadcast with my guides, the Z's. You should be noticing that as you become more soul-based,
You suddenly see the ridiculousness of some of the ways you have been trained to think.
We take questions, we go deep on some of the themes that are showing up that month, and I also get to focus the teachings and the transmission on a much smaller, intimate, and more focused group. As well as my work, we have so many different audios, videos, and support tools for you on mind, body, spirit, and heart, so that you can be inspired, uplifted, and supported as we navigate these times. So if you feel called to join us, we would love to welcome you in.